Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic, and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, this is another movie review. Now, this is going to be kind of an older film, but actually a very old film. It's actually Space Jam. You probably read the title or saw the thumbnail. Space Jam 1, to be precise. Now, my Regal theater that I go to normally, I was going to say regally, but that doesn't make sense. Normally, showcases sometimes movies for like $2 or so. You know, they have the Lego movies, they got Minions, whatever. And I figured, hey, I might as well see Space Jam because I had the Space Jam A New Legacy, of course, Space Jam 2. And I actually love that movie. I think Space Jam 2 A New Legacy is it's not like a revolutionary, groundbreaking film, but, I think it's a good film. I have it on Blu-ray, I watch it, it's pretty fun. And I did see Space Jam not as a kid, but as a teenager in my high school. We had film clubs, every Friday or so we go down, we bring a movie, it'd be kind of fun. And this was before I had a YouTube channel, by the way, this was way before that. And, I never really got to review it, so to speak. And I remember watching it in film club, and I was like, all right, it's okay, I guess, because every other, student, kid, friend in film club was like, oh, you gotta watch this stuff, man, this is a great effing movie, this is fantastic. And I'm like, all right, I like basketball to a degree, I like Looney Tunes, let's go. And I was like, oh, this is trash. And I saw it today again, and this is really my first time, reviewing this film, so to speak, as a YouTuber and as a, film critic, not just unpaid film critic, but not as just a, just some random dude. It's okay. So I guess we should start with basketball. My extent of knowledge on basketball. I'm a dude, and I think it's kind of obviously, I think it's a stereotypical thing to be like, every guy has to like sports or they're freaking dumb. You know what I mean? I like sports, I watch football sometimes, I watch basketball sometimes, I'm not big on baseball, whatever, I used to play tennis, I like bowling, so I do like sports, I do sports sometimes, I do sports, and I also watch sports, but do I know the names of every player? No. In fact, I really couldn't care less about that aspect of it. I like to watch the games sometimes, I don't like to play the sports games, like NBA 2K and all that on Xbox. And I also like, to play certain sports. I'm not that good. I have a basketball hoop. In fact, my very first time shooting a basketball, I threw it like this, and it hit the rim, and it hit me right in the face, and then I quit for a year, and then I came back, and I'm like, hey, I guess I'm not too bad. Of course, I am white and extremely short, so it's kind of hard to literally get into basketball, but still, I do think that it is a really cool thing to, to play. I like basketball and all that, so I figured, let's go see Space Jam again. And my extent on Looney Tunes is, I didn't really watch a lot of Looney Tunes as a kid. I saw most of it as like a, 12, whatever, 13, so basically, pre-teen, teen to, adult now, I'm 23, and it is kind of, I had the Looney Tunes show on Cartoon Network. That's one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It's one of the funniest shows of all time, too. I like Looney Tunes. I can't really do a whole lot of the voices. Maybe I can start practicing. But I do think it's a good, good franchise. I do like the Disney, characters better, like Mickey Mouse, Donald, that kind of stuff. But, Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, good stuff. I have some of the movies. I got some of the TV shows. So I'm pretty well-versed in the Looney Tunes lore. And I'm just going to come right out and say that I think Space Jam 2 is a better film in every single aspect. And I'm not just saying that because, it's older. I know it's older. I'm not taking that into account. But again, there's a difference between bad CGI, or like bad effects, versus old effects. And this kind of has a bit of both. Now, I do think that while I do enjoy Space Jam A New Legacy a lot better, not just because, it's newer, it's got better CGI. That's not it. Yes, it does look better. But that's not why. I think that LeBron James is a better actor than Michael Jordan. I do think that the story is better in A New Legacy, with the fact that they're actually having LeBron and his son kind of had almost like a Lego Ninjago movie, kind of Lloyd Garment type of. They don't hate each other, but LeBron is like, look, you got to do basketball, and the kid's like, well, I want to do video games though. I don't like basketball as much as you. I want to do my own thing, and it's a cool little aspect in that film. Of course, you get Algie Rhythm, who's a Don Cheadle, who's pretty cool. Really cool references. Yeah, I know. Both Space Jam movies are literally just flexing. Hey, WB properties, look at all the WB properties we have, more so in the second. But I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. But just because Space Jam 1 is revered as a classic film by a lot of people doesn't mean it's inherently good. If you love it, perfectly okay. For $2, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't buy it on Blu-ray. But again, I like basketball to a degree. I like Looney Tunes a lot, actually, so it is kind of cool to, see them kind of combined in a film. In terms of, negatives for this film, some of the direction, the opening, 10 minutes is just straight up Michael Jordan, clips of him just, banking dunks and getting buckets and all that shite, and it's cool, because they did it in the second one, too, so it's kind of like a duology, it makes sense, but, look, some movies, especially back in the 90s, did have their credits. in the beginning of the film. Not all of them, but, a good majority of the credits were in the beginning of the film. And it did I'm sitting there eating my popcorn, and I'm like, is this movie gonna start? Like, did I miss the whole thing? And is this the end? So some of it is kind of a bit, okay, let's start the freaking movie now. And then once the movie starts, again, it is old. It's in, I believe it was like 1995, 1996, 1997, something along those lines. Correct me the actual year if I'm wrong, but I believe it's like 95 through 97. And, some of the effects look okay for the time. Like how they integrate Daffy and Bugs into the real 3D, our 3D world. It's cool. It doesn't look great, but it looks good for the time. You know what I mean? Because that was, again, the late 90s is kind of when the CGI was first starting to kind of, break through into the mainstream media in film. And to see that kind of, progress in this kind of era was kind of cool. There's one really awesome shot where Bugs and Daffy are in Michael's house. And before his kids see, it's like this really awesome it's like a one shot, they're called oneers, of not that long, dude. I literally, cause the whole movie, I'm like, there's not really that many good shots in here, it doesn't look that. I watched The Batman last night with Robert Pattinson, so maybe I'm a little spoiled, but, every shot in The Batman is like a freaking painting, like Last Jedi. So to see this, it's like, there's not really any inspiring good shots. And there's one that I picked out where, again, Bugs and Daffy are in Michael's house, and they're kind of walking down the hallway, and Bugs is opening doors, and the camera's closing in on him, and then zooming back out. It was really cool. And again, some of the CGI is, pretty good. Like I said, integrating the Looney Tunes in the 3D world, having Michael Jordan in the Looney Tunes world does pose a problem, because I believe from when Michael was interviewed, he said he'd never do that again, because it was just him in a big-ass green room with a bunch of big, green screen suited dudes in green suits, covered head to toe, and just bopping and moving around a green floor. It's like you're in a straitjacket in a freaking padded cell in Arkham, and the entire area here is just green. And he was like, this is kind of insane. Like, I don't want to do this ever again. This was effing horrible. So, it kind of sucks. Look, at the end of the day, you're a fucking billionaire. You're getting paid. Chill out. It's just a Looney Tunes movie. It's okay, Michael. But I do think that I would understand. I do understand. If I was just strapped in a green room the whole time, it wouldn't be as fun as, say, working on any other effing movie with real people compared to, okay, look over there, there's Tweety Bird, and Tweety Bird's going to pass it to the Tasmanian Devil, and he's going to pass it to Grandma, and then Michael would probably, what the heck's going on? You know what I mean? So it does pose a bit of a problem in that sense, because it does sort of look like Michael has this weird, white, jagged line around him, because, again, he's in a 3D CGI world, he's in Looney Tune land, compared to, vice versa, because in the new Legacy, the new Space Jam film, LeBron James is literally, if you remember, when he goes into Looney Tune land, he's 99% animated, like the Looney Tunes. So that obliterates the entire need to have this weird-looking CGI effect. And it does look good to some degree, when he's interacting with the Looney Tunes, or, Daffy Duck, pulls Bill Murray's shorts for a second, it looks like the Roger Rabbit style of practicality, which I really enjoy. And again, some of the effects look kind of crap, when Dennis Nedry, as I call him, I don't know his real name, from Jurassic Park, the fat guy, Stick Stupid, that guy, he's gets flattened by one of the Monstars, and he just he inflates, and you can clearly tell it's like a CGI Michael, and not Michael, whatever the hell his name is, and he doesn't look good, you know what I mean? And that's just, it's an older movie. No, some of the older CGI effects look okay. When you see Moron Mountain, where the Monstars are, it clearly looks like trash, but it's, better than, say, when Michael Jordan's in a little cube and they're just bouncing him around, it's disgusting looking. So some of it looks good, some of it looks really god-awful. And I do have to commend him, though, because it is really cool to see, like I said, a real dude in a Looney Tunes, style environment. So other than some of the CGI is a bit wonky, the direction and the editing's a bit all over the place. Sometimes there's scenes where, a guy is, golfing with another dude. Bill Murray's talking with freaking Hank Hill, and they're just talking, and, it's a 10-second, not even 10-second shot or scene. And then it just zips on over to freaking Looney Tunes for another 15 minutes before we then zoop on over to Michael, and then we zoop on over to freaking Charles Barkley and all the guys. What do we do with our lives? You know what I mean? And I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a really interesting aspect in that film that, these basketball players essentially sucked up of their powers, and they're like, well, that's where the comedy comes in, because they're professional basketball players, and they lose their only talent, so to speak, and they're just kind of wandering the earth like, what do we do? They're trying to go to gypsies, and they're just praying to God, and they're going to church, and they're doing all these seeing psychologists. It is entertaining to watch, and I think that's the main positive about this film. This is a movie where you can just shut your effing brain off and just be entertained with basketball puns and Looney Tunes puns. That's about all you really expect. A New Legacy is where it starts to become an actual film with real plots, real stakes, real elements of film. This is just kind of hashtagging and just kind of bloopy. I don't even know what I'm saying. It's just like putting stuff together and seeing what sticks. You know, throwing poop at the wall and seeing what sticks. And that's kind of what they did. And some of it works. Again, I like the aspect where they lose their powers. It's kind of a funny thing. You know, it's not, none of this was like with the basketball players. None of it was laugh out loud, you know. You don't need to know every guy's name, and you know it's pretty basic basketball humors. You know, Michael Jordan takes steroids, and you know they're like, oh, the one dude's banging Madonna. You know, it's funny. You know, kind of self-referential jokes toward themselves and toward the basketball genre themselves. Like when those really tall guys, those two black dudes and the white guy in the middle, they're walking and they just hit their head on the freaking beam in the hospital. I mean, you know, just dumb stuff like that. It's funny and it works, and I think that is where the humor is at best. Of course, the Looney Tunes segments, you know, the actual animated segments are the best, obviously. It's a Looney Tunes film. But I do think that, you know, it can be a bit messy with the editing. Like I said, it jumps a lot. There's a lot of, like, really close-up shots of, like, Michael Jordan's face because clearly they were too scared to, like, show anything around him or it would look kind of bad. You know, like, Evil Dead, for example, when Sam Raimi, like, goes right on top of a character's face, like in the first one with Ash, that is thematic storytelling. That's not to hide a fault. This looked like it was hiding a fault in the film. You know, just little things like that. Would I honestly recommend this film? I probably would if you like basketball and if you like Looney Tunes. If you don't like either, I'd probably say skip it. And if you really want to watch one, go watch New Legacy. I know everyone and their mom is like, oh, it's iconic, it's classic, it's the best thing ever. The second one's trash, the first one's great. Maybe I'm weird. I don't know. Again, I did enjoy it, but there were moments of editing that were a bit weird. You know, upon reviewing it, look, if I was just watching this with, like, a friend at home, I wouldn't be saying it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying this because I'm reviewing it and I have to be critical. But it is entertaining. You know what I mean? It's genuinely entertaining. It's cheesy because this film, I was born in 98. So I was kind of at the cusp of the end of the 90s, right into the 2000s. And this is when I didn't even see this in theaters. Like I said, I saw it for the first time in high school. And this film just straight up screams 90s nostalgia. Just the music, the way it looks, like the grain effect on the film, the basketball element, the Looney Tunes element, the CGI. It's all, you know, it doesn't really hold up, but it's timeless in that it really captures the 90s feel of just pop culture in a movie. You know, I think that's really, really cool that they were able to do that, where literally, it's weird. Like, I can't explain it. It just feels like a 90s movie. And that's a compliment. You know, some of the other faults would be, some of it looks a bit outdated, and some of the editing's a bit weird. Some of the humor doesn't land. It's just kind of awkward sometimes. Like, sometimes shots just, like, linger on a character. Like, when the Monstars are going to WB land, and it's just, like, a cool shot of the cockpit of their ship, and they're all just looking, and they're still looking. And it's, like, a 5-second shot, and they're not talking or doing... It's just, like, a static... You know, it's like... You can cut now! You know what I mean? So some of the editing's a bit weird all over the place. But other than that, I did enjoy it. Honestly, though, I do think New Legacy is better, like I said in the beginning, in every way. But honestly, if I had to rate Space Jam 1, which I don't know why it's even called Space Jam, I know it's a song, but, I mean, they're barely in space, and there's no jamming, whatever. I'd probably give Space Jam 1, I'll probably give it a B or a B minus. There are elements in there that are really good, and there are really funny moments in this film that made me laugh out loud. But there are also moments that were kind of sizzling out, and the effects were kind of dated. And I'm not saying, again, I know, don't be like, well, franchise, you can't do it. I know, I'm not stupid. Some of them are dated, and some of them are bad. And some of the ones that are bad, and they stick out. Like, it's not like, oh, it probably looked good, then no, it looked like trash in the 90s. Like, it didn't look good in the 20s either. You know what I mean? Like, you have these freaking 1920s shorts of stop motion. People weren't retarded, but, you know, they weren't like, wow, this looks real! You know, it's like, no, it's clay. You know what I mean? It's clay. So, I think, you know, there are elements in there where you're like, okay, this is a bit wonky. But other than that, I do think that it is very much a film that, again, captures the 90s to a T. And it has some funny Looney Tunes moments. It has some funny, you know, basketball puns and all that. And, you know, I recommend it if you like this kind of stuff. If not, you know, I'd just skip this one and watch New Legacy if you really want to watch a basketball Looney Tunes style film. But, you know, maybe I'm just sacrilegious and I should get executed on the spot. I don't know. But I didn't love it. but this is the second time seeing it, and I enjoyed it for what it was, and I was entertained. If that's what you want, you know what I mean. I was entertained. It's a turn your brain off and watch movie. Again, the second one you have to pay a bit more attention to. There's more of an actual plot than just we gotta not be slaves, so let's just get Michael Jordan because branding. You know what I mean. Other than that, though, it's funny at times. It's pretty entertaining, like I said, and I enjoyed it for what it was. Definitely despite its faults, which again mostly boils down to bad effects, and then of course, just kind of weird writing sometimes, weird jokes, weird editing, weird pacing. But anyway, I enjoyed it, and again, I'm going to give Space Jam a B-. I don't know what I give Space Jam: A New Legacy. You have to go check that review out if you want to. Maybe I'll find it, put it in the description. I don't know, but I cannot wait to maybe they'll make another one. I don't know. Whenever in 27, 30 years when there's a new basketball god out and everyone's worshiping him, giving him billions of dollars. Meanwhile, doctors and police officers don't get jack shit. Anyway, I cannot wait to review more movies. Again, I figured I'd review it because, I'm seeing it in the theaters, and I figured, it's an older film, but, it's content. Why not, right? Hope you guys enjoyed. Anyway, tell me in the comments down below what you think is better, Space Jam or Space Jam: A New Legacy. Again, if you really enjoyed the first one, I'm not pooping on you. I just didn't love it. I think it's alright. A B- is still a pretty good score. And I do think it was entertaining, to say the least. Anyway, tell me in the comments down below what you think, and which movie you enjoyed the most. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.